എണ്ണി എണ്ണി തീർത്തു ദിനം വന്നല്ലോ ഈ അറഞ്ച്. ആ ദിനത്തെ ആടിപ്പാടി ആഘോഷം കൊണ്ടാടണം, നാം ആഘോഷം കൊണ്ടാടണം.
Hello and greetings to our esteemed viewers. I am Omer Ghazi and I am joined today by my compatriots SUBUHI Khan, MOINUDDIN AHMAD and Amana Begam. We wanted to use this occasion for something unique, special and extremely important. We wanted to honor and commemorate the victims of the Chabad House terrorist attack on 26th of November 2008. Those victims were Jews. Jews who had never before in the history of India been persecuted on Indian soil. For the first and worst time in our history, Jews were tortured and murdered in cold blood by foreign radicalized Pakistani terrorist state actors. Of all the hostages on 26/11 who had been captured and executed by the perpetrators of terror, the bodies of the Jewish victims were found to have suffered the most torture.
I'm SUBUHI Khan, a Sanatani Muslim from the land of spirituality, Bharat, that is India. We are using this occasion to maintain that anti-Semitism is not, never has been, and never will be a problem in India. In this memorial, we remember and honor the victims. We then also remember the rich Jewish history of India, particularly the beautiful relationship that Indian Muslims share with Indian Jews and still share to this day. This special Jewish-Muslim relationship is something we deeply cherish, always have, and always will cherish. The victims of the tragedy were beautiful souls with beautiful and promising lives ahead. They had beautiful families, friends, and loved ones who were robbed of them.
62-year-old grandmother and mother of 4, Yocheved Orpaz, was on a holiday in India visiting her daughter Ayala and her 2 grandchildren. She was dropping by the Chabad House to thank the directors for helping her obtaining kosher food when the tragedy struck her, and her life was cruelly stolen away from her and her loved ones. May her memory be a blessing. Zikrona Livaracha.
Norma Shvarzblat Rabinovich. 49-year-old Norma was a talented artist, avid traveler, and a polyglot. She spent many months traveling India, especially mountains trekking. She was staying at Chabad House as a guest when the terrorists attacked it and brutally murdered her. She has been cruelly stolen away from 3 young children. May her memory be a blessing. Zikrona Livracha.
When 37-year-old Rabbi Teitelbaum was brutally murdered, he left behind a young wife and a family of 8 children. At the time of his visit to India, he was supervising a mushroom processing plant that was doing a production run for a kosher food company. He died while praying inside the Chabad House synagogue. May his memory be a blessing. Zichrono Lifracha.
28-year-old Bentzion Kruman had survived a deadly earthquake in China earlier in the year of 2008. But tragically, it was at Chabad House, Mumbai, that he would leave this world and his young family of a wife and 3 children behind forever. Kruman was on a visit to India at the behest of his friend Rabbi Teitelbaum to assist the latter with his work. When Kruman was found, it was in the library, slumped over an open Talmud. May his memory be a blessing. Zichrono Livracha.
Rabbi Gabriel and Ravika Horsberg moved to India shortly after they married and opened the first Chabad House in Mumbai, commonly known as Nariman House. In addition to installing a kosher kitchen and leading weekly Shabbat meals for visitors and residents, Rabbi Gabriel also led prayer at Knesset Eliyahu Synagogue for a Jewish community of Mumbai, which is around 5,000 in number. Anywhere from 50 to 60 people would attend Shabbat meals, and all people of all background, religion, ethnicities and nationalities were welcome to attend. On the night of the attack, on the 26th of November 2008, Rabbi Gabriel and his wife Revika Holzberg, who was 5 months pregnant at that time, left this world all too soon and far too cruelly. Their 2-year-old son Moshe was saved by his nanny Sandra Samuel, who found baby Moshe wandering near his unconscious parents. She seized him and fled from the building, narrowly escaping the terrorists. Rabbi Gabriel and Revika Holzberg were a young, warm, beautiful and loving parents to baby Moshe, and a source of light and joy to the Jewish community and their friends and loved ones. May their memory be a blessing. Zichronam livaracha.
Before we go on to our next segment, we would like to showcase a beautiful gift that calligrapher Thoufeek Zakriya has made as a memorial for the victim of the tragedy, and which has been gifted to Chabad House, Mumbai. We are back, and this time we are going to do something a little different. This time we are going to go down memory lane and talk about the Jewish people and their rich history in India. We are then going to talk about how special and unique the friendship between Indian Jewish and Muslim people has been and still is to this very day.
Jews have been in India for centuries, quite possibly millennia. Some Jews, such as the Bnei Menashe of Mizoram and Manipur, are even considered descendants of ancient lost Israelite tribes who went wandering away from the Levant thousands of years ago. What recorded history tells us is that some of the earliest Jews to arrive in India were the ones who fled Roman persecution and settled on the Konkan coast in around 175 BCE. These Jews are known as Bnei Israel Jew.
The next small by comparison wave of Jews were the Najakoil Jews or St. Thomas Jews. These were Jewish followers of Jesus' apostle St. Thomas. They followed him from the land of Israel to the present-day Kanyakumari in 52 CE to preach the teachings of their Rabbi, Jesus, or Yeshua, as he is called in Hebrew.
The next to arrive were the Cochin Jews, who were expelled from Spain by the Catholics in 1492 CE. Another wave of Portuguese and Spanish Jews fleeing the Spanish Inquisition arrived in India in the 16th century and settled down in Goa and Chennai. They were the Goan Jews and the Madras Jews.
In 1839, a group of Jews fled persecution and pogrom in the city of Mashhad in Iran and settled in Punjab, where they were welcomed and protected by the Sikh Maharaja Ranjit Singh.
Finally, the Baghdadi Jews made their way to India in the 18th century from Iraq. A second migration of Jews took place in the early 19th century as Dawood Pasha grew increasingly intolerant of Jews in Baghdad.
While Jews were persecuted across Europe and the Levant, they were welcomed and thrived in India.
We now tell you a little about some of those Jews who did ever so well in our land, and particularly about those Jews who had shared the closest bonds of friendship with Indian Muslims.
Gaspar da Gama, also known as Gaspar da India, was a famous Portuguese Jewish explorer who frequently sailed between Portugal and India on trade expeditions. He knew a couple of Indian languages and was hence employed as an interpreter by the Portuguese and developed close relations with many Indian leaders. However, at one point in his life, he was taken prisoner in Alexandria and sold as a slave to India. Fortunately for him, Yusuf Adil Shah, the Sultan of Bijapur and Arab governor of Goa, granted Gaspar his freedom and also appointed him as a captain of his fleet of ships.
Another Portuguese Jew Garcia de Orta was a physician, herbalist, and naturalist who lived from 1501 to 1568. A prolific personality who studied and made significant contributions to medicine, pharmacognosy, and ethnobotany. He invented herbal medicines and published several works on medicinal and economic plants in India. He set up a medical practice in Ahmednagar, where he was the physician to Burhan Nizam Shah I of the Nizam Shahi dynasty. He was also the tutor to the Sultan's son and was treated like royalty at the court, where he met and dined several times with the Sultan's cavalry general Firangi Khan himself.
De Orta wasn't the only Jew welcomed at the court of the Muslim rulers. Emperors Akbar and Jahangir welcomed Jewish advisors to their court, especially in his Ibadat Khana or hall of worship. Jews were invited to participate in Akbar's Parliament of Religion to discuss religious matters. It was a place where representatives of various religious persuasions held religious discourses.
The Jewish people held singularly special position with the Muslim rulers across India, furthering diplomatic ties. The Jewish merchant Isaac Sargon from Syria, who lived in Calicut, was Sultan Hyder Ali's favorite emissary and representative of the Dutch traders and local Malabar rulers such as Ali Raja of Cannanore. David Ezekiel Rahabi, a merchant and emissary of the Cochin Jewish community, was pivotal in brokering peace on behalf of the Malabar people with Hyder Ali, after which the Sultan of Mysore ceased his siege, marking the end of First Mysore War.
The Jewish people were active in civic and economic affairs under the various Muslim rulers of India. In 1891, Nawab Siddi Ahmad Khan, the Siddi ruler of Janzeria, appointed a Jew called Shalom Bapuji Israel Wagarkar as his Kharbari or Prime Minister. He was so popular with the Nawab's administration that he was bestowed the honorary title of Khan Sahab. Together, the Nawab and his Jewish Kharbari implemented reforms that transformed the state of Zanzira, enhancing crop productivity and state revenues. Communal harmony reigned, and synagogue, prayer halls, and cemeteries were built for the thriving Jewish community of Zanzira.
One of the earliest and probably the first Hebrew translations of the Quran was made by the Cochin Jews in 18th century. This was not the first or the last of many socio-cultural and religious engagements between the Jewish and Muslim communities of India. The Persian Armenian Sufi mystic Sarmad Kashani was originally a Jew who converted to Islam. A JewFi or Jewish Sufi, if you could call him one. Known as the Wandering Jew, Kashani first visited India in the 17th century and at the invitation of Prince Dara Shikoh, who thereafter became a disciple of his, appeared in Emperor Akbar's court. Kashani preached the invaluable tenets of religious syncretism and freedom of expression. One of India's greatest freedom fighters, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, maintained that he related closely to the JewFi Sarmat for his fierce belief in freedom of thought and expression.
There are many other JewFis or Jews who were also Muslim. Notable among them are
Samuel Faizi Rahman, a Jewish painter who was renowned in the early 20th century for his spectacular Rajasthani painting and Mughal miniatures.
Anamolka Ahmed, the Impressionist artist who set up the Department of Fine Arts at University of Punjab in pre-partition India.
Theatre personality and playwright Pearl Padamsee, who set up her own theatre company in Mumbai and acted in Hindi and English films like Khatta Meetha, Junoon, Baaton Baaton Mein, and Kama Sutra: Tale of Love and Such a Long Journey.
Bollywood actress Esther Victoria Abraham, who went by the screen name Pramila, who won the first Miss India title in 1947. The beauty queen, who was incidentally also a graduate of Cambridge University, acted in several Bollywood films like Beqasoor, Ulti Ganga, Hamari Beti, Kanchan, Basant, Naseeb, and many, many more.
Coincidentally, Esther Abraham's daughter, Naki Jahan, another Jew, went on to become Miss India in 1967, marking the two of them the only mother and daughter duo to ever bag the coveted title.
Abraham's Zifi son, Haider Ali, was a Bollywood star in his own right. He had starred in TV serials and in many movies such as Mughal-e-Azam, Shri 420 and Watan. And he was the writer behind Ashutosh Govardkar's landmark film Zoda Akbar.
One of the most preeminent JewFis of our time is none other than Yusuf Hamid himself. He is the son of Muslim industrialist Khwaja Abdul Hamid, who was an active member of India's independence movement. Yusuf's mother, Lyuba Derzhanska, was a Lithuanian Jew who fled Nazi persecution in Germany in search of a safer climate in India. Popularly known by his moniker Yuku, Hamid is the billionaire CEO of Cipla, one of the world's leading pharmaceutical companies. He has garnered much respect and recognition for his seminal research and tireless advocacy and intervention efforts for provisioning developing countries with critical medications to treat HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, asthma, and other diseases. In 2005, the government of India awarded him the Padma Bhushan, the nation's third highest civilian honor.
The JewFi equation goes both ways. Just as many Jews engaged with and embraced Muslims, many prominent Indian Muslims were also monumentally influenced by Jewish people. The most significant testimony to Jewish influence in Muslim life in India is the contemporary modern art scene of India itself. In the 1930s and 1940s, many Jews fled anti-Semitism and Nazi persecution in Europe and came to India. Among them were Kathe Langamer, Emanuel Schlesinger, and Rudolf von Leyden. These three art connoisseurs and collectors had a major impact on the art movement in India and in promoting and launching the careers of Muslim artists like Maqbool Fida Hussain and Sayyid Haider Raza.
Many Muslims in the Bollywood were also influenced by Jewish ethos and folklore. In 1958, Yahudi, meaning Jew, was a historical fictional drama about the persecution of Jews. It was written by Wajahat Hussain Mirza Changezi and was based on a novel by Muhammad Shah and starred people like Dilip Kumar or Muhammad Yusuf Khan, Meena Kumari or Mahjabin Banu, Nazir Hussain and Nigar Sultana. Bollywood was the ultimate melting pot and mixing point of Jews and Muslims. Just like the Muslims of Yahudi, Jewish actors Vimla, Ezra Mir and Salochna played central role in Muslim-themed movies like Noor Jahan and Anarkali.
And Samson was another Jew who had a major impact on the lives of Muslims. In 1939, she founded and became principal of Njumani Islam Saif Tayyib Ji Girls High School and Junior College of Art and Science in Mumbai. Today, the school has over 5,000 Muslim students. Samson was a fervent advocate and pioneer of education for Muslim girls.
Joseph Horowitz was another Jewish academician and scholar who taught Arabic and Islamic studies at Aligarh's Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College from 1907 to 1914. Along with teaching, he worked for the government of India in compiling and translating over 12,000 Muslim inscriptions in Arabic and Persian from across India.
Another Jew, Dr. Rachel Reuben, wrote the eloquent biography and tribute to Muslim naturalist and ornithologist Humayun Abdul Ali, the cousin of Salim Ali, Birdman of India. Dr. Reuben was one of the founding members of ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, Vector Control Research Center, and was also an executive member of the Bombay Natural History Society, where she struck a close friendship with Humayun Abdul Ali.
Indian Jewish and Muslim communities have been living side by side and participating harmoniously in each other's religious activities in more than a few intimate ways. In early 20th century, Jabalpur had a very tiny Jewish community. One that was so small that the local Muslims of the town would join them in their New Year procession, dancing and rejoicing all the way from railway station to the Judah compound prayer hall, carrying the Torah, the holy book of the Jews, with them.
In India today, with the numbers of the Jewish community dwindling to just a handful in many cities, many synagogues and cemeteries are now looked after by Muslim caretakers, without whom they would be neglected. Muslim families now look after the three major synagogues of Kolkata, Beth El, Magen David, and Neva Shalom. And the cemeteries of Kolkata, Bangalore, Cochin, and Mumbai are also in care of Muslims. Mohammad Abdul Yaseen and his son are the only tomb engraver in Mumbai who engraved tombstone in Hebrew. But it is not only in maintaining and preserving Jewish monuments that Muslims are closely involved, they are also central to preserving and reviving Jewish traditions. All the good in Jewish bakery, Nahoum and Sons in Kolkata, are produced by Muslim chefs. India's only teacher of Hebrew is a devout Muslim, Khurshid Imam, and the last of Jew of Cochin, Sarah Cohen, taught her Muslim caretaker and assistant, Thaha, how to read and embroider in Hebrew to sell Hebrew embroidered handkerchiefs before she passed away. These are only a handful of innumerable beautiful relationships between Indian Jewish and Muslims that there are and have been over the centuries.
This video has been an effort to remember the Chabad House victims of 26/11 and to bring people together. We hope you liked it and found it informative, edifying, and inspiring. Thank you for watching this video.